Hey, it's Jason with fireplaceblowersonline.com. Have a UZY5 kit here with a twist. So a couple years ago we started introducing our UZY5 kits with the optional Elite package. And so we wanted to walk through what's included with that Elite package and talk about some of the differences between our standard UZY5 kit and what we refer to as our Elite kit. So in the original UZY5 kit, you would see a traditional tangential or squirrel cage blower similar to this. Okay. With the Elite models, we move over to a blower like this. These are centrifugal blowers, and there's a couple of benefits from centrifugal blowers over their tangential counterparts. First of all, one thing you'll notice is that the length of the original blowers is a little longer. Those original blowers were designed to fit into these original UZY5 brackets. You'll actually see one of the mounting holes there for the original one. That's no longer used. But these are galvanized steel brackets. The benefit of centrifugal is twofold. We get to eliminate that bearing on the end. We use still really nice sealed ball bearings on those end caps. But you'll notice on the end of these blowers, if I can kind of pan in there, there's no bearing. They're actually seated and pinned properly on the shaft of the motor, but it eliminates a common failure point. So we're eliminating essentially in a dual blower setup like this, 2 bearings. We're using a slightly thicker diameter wheel. I believe this is a 70 or a 75 millimeter diameter wheel versus the original, which is 60. So despite the difference in length, these guys actually still produce the same amount of CFM, but we've eliminated that problematic bearing. And we've also done another thing. Centrifugal blowers typically carry with them a much higher static pressure rating. And essentially what that means is the ability of the blower to move air in a sealed enclosure. So that static pressure rating actually, and oftentimes, is more important than the actual overall CFM of the blower. So A, we're keeping CFM the same. B, we're getting a higher static pressure rating. And C, we're eliminating that outside bearing. So again, we keep the same brackets. These are bolted up to, these are our version of the UZY5 brackets, but these will also fit your original UZY5 brackets, but with one exception. Our brackets will actually have holes there for the mounting of the blower. Your brackets, the original brackets, will not have that. So if you're okay just pre-drilling a couple holes into your brackets, there's no sense of upgrading the brackets. You can actually use your original brackets and mount these right up. You can actually see how we mount these. The flange of the blower is actually flush with the bracket. So those are really probably the most important features. On all of our UZY5 kits, they come standard with this magnetic temperature sensor. There's also an optional speed controller. The standard kits, when you buy the UZY5, typically does not use a speed controller. That's how the original brands wired up the UZY5 kits. So if you want the ability to control these, add that speed controller. We can either do these in line as you see pictured, or we can actually wall mount these. So if you've got a designated wall switch that controls your blowers now, rather than having this in line and below the fireplace, we can actually replace your wall switch and mount one of these guys. Wire harness on these guys there's a lot of wiring. These guys are typically spaced out much further apart than what you see pictured, which is why the wiring harness is pretty long. But again, really nice, fully ball bearing assemblies. You've got 2 sealed ball bearings in the motor. Again, no bearings on the end cap on the ends of these wheels, which is great. It removes that problematic bearing. These bearings in the original OEM UZY5 kits were either nylon or brass. So our version of it at least has a really nice sealed ball bearing that's got a high temp grease in it. So it's a better option than some of the cheaper models you're gonna find on Amazon and eBay. So keep that in mind. The standard model that we sell is still a fantastic upgrade, but if you really want the Lamborghini of UZY5 kits, you might want to consider this Elite model. So what I'm gonna have Jim actually pop in here really quick. We'll turn this guy on really quick. The sound of blowers through the microphone on a phone isn't always the greatest. But apply just a little heat to the sensor here. Turn that speed controller up. What you can't see is if you were to actually touch these housings with your hands, these things are super finely tuned, very well balanced. I'll actually have Jim rotate one of the housings here. These basically just rest on your floor. There's typically a couple magnetic strips on the bottom that just hold it in place against the rear of the fireplace. So no specific mounting other than just to kind of position these guys at the back wall of the fireplace. But again, really, really nice, smooth blower assemblies. So if you have any questions on these guys or are contemplating possibly upgrading to the Elite, we can certainly go over that with you in more detail over the phone. You can call us at 262-989-4882 or 262-989-4883, or you can email us at support@fireplaceblowersonline.com. Thanks again, guys.